My name is Numan Bari, as you know, and we are at Health-ISAC Spring Summit here in Tampa. Matt, he comes to our AIWG session, so that's how I know him. And today he gave a really insightful talk on all things AI. He what do you say? He poked a lot of bubbles. He broke a lot of barriers in his talk. And whatever we are discussing right now is just a casual conversation between two passionate information security architects. It's our personal opinion. I'm not representing my company. He's not representing his company. It's just a casual conversation about what he just presented 30 minutes ago. It was a very interesting conversation, and I will hand it over to Matt with a question. Matt, when you are talking about, first you can introduce yourself, and then your essence of your talk was about this transition, and AI is not something mythical. Your existing controls can protect your AI deployments, agentic AI application deployments. So please share your thoughts.
Hi, Internet. Matt Seul. I work for Sutter, but this is entirely my personal opinion here. So yes, what was the talk about, and how do we actually control AI? Now the thing is, there's a lot of hubbub about like, oh God, AI, how do we control this? What do we do? What are our controls? How do we protect against rogue AI? I think we can all agree there's a lot of buzz out there in the industry. And I think that's okay, but it distracts from what's actually going on. So when we talk about AI, what is this really? And I know it came from neural networks and so on, but for the majority of what we're dealing with right now in terms of products, it's a chatbot.
Yeah.
It's a chatbot. So that means tokens go in, tokens come out, and then the actual magic happens by the system having additional things like being able to access APIs like RAG, or being able to talk to other things, MCP, A2A, ACP being the topics there. So that means, in a nutshell, AI always needs something else to be actually effective, right? It doesn't, even if an AI harbors world domination intentions, it can ruminate about that all day long, but it actually can't do anything unless it connects with something else, another system. And so here's the crux of the talk. If you are looking to control AI, look at controlling the transition points where the system is integrating with something else to do a thing, access data, delete data, modify data, exfiltrate data, these kind of things. Because if you control the transition, you control the AI. And if you're looking solely at the shiny object of AI to secure, it's like, oh God, how do I secure the AI? You're looking in the wrong spot. Stop looking at the AI, stop looking at that for a moment, you can look at that later, but look at what are the transitions. And I bet you already have a ton of controls in place to manage these transitions well, AI or not.
Thank you, Matt. I mean, you have summarized your entire talk in just a few minutes, so I'm really grateful for that. I know you have very limited time always, and you are a super busy person. My last question, and then we can end the session. There's so much hype about mythos, however you want to pronounce it. What is your opinion on that aspect in the healthcare context? Like considering we are running IoMT devices, which might not be getting patched at that higher rate frequency. What's your vision, or what's your thoughts, or how you see this as a threat or as an opportunity?
Yeah, so there's of course a lot of that. Our CTO, for example, and CISO both are like, so hey, what's with that mythos? Yeah. Right? They of course said it much more eloquently. In a nutshell, what we're seeing there is currently a lot of marketing hype. I think a lot of what Mythos can do, we now have GPT-5.5 and GPT-5.5 Cyber. I think there's a lot of like, hey, we built this incredibly dangerous thing, but you can't have it. But it's really dangerous, which means it's really, really good, and you should totally subscribe to it if you could. The actual truth is that a lot of the models that already exist out there, like think about Opus as one example, or again, GPT-5.4, 5.5, they are already very capable of finding vulnerabilities and potentially also writing exploits. And attackers, they don't wait for another release of Anthropic or OpenAI or whatever else comes around. They already have their own LLMs. They have people that build that for them. So I think that the threat is real, but the threat is already there. It wasn't just because Mythos entered, the threat was already there. Now, what does it mean for us as an organization? I think it's still the same problem of discovering and dealing with vulnerabilities. However, it's become a much more compressed timeline. I think there was a lot of like, hey, we should probably patch in 30 days, sometimes like 17 days or 14 days. There's all kind of weird different timelines out there. And that's okay, I think you should patch, but we can't out-patch this threat. Because what's happening is that the attackers are going to develop more and more and more vulnerabilities at a scale that vendors, like if you want to patch, there has to be a patch developed first, right? So I don't think especially vendors can keep up with that, and especially if vendors are today, right now, in the medical field, are struggling to uphold security. And I have opinions on how sometimes like vendors jiggle out of that and say like, it doesn't induce patient harm, Bitcoin mining is fine. I think we can't outpatch. So what does it mean? It's a forcing function to actually get our stuff together. It's a forcing function for the industry to really rally around that problem. And it's also a forcing function to shift our focus. Stop solely looking at patching. Let's talk about, again, the transitions right back to my talk. See how I tied it back together? What is actually being accessed? How is data being accessed? And what's the intent behind that access? So I think identity is going to be one of the key frontiers that we're going to have to secure, and intent of access, intent of interaction. And if you can distinguish, okay, regular intent, regular use from malicious use, it's not a complete silver bullet. But it will allow you to potentially stop, arrest the attack, even if there is a vulnerability that's unpatched. And I think that's what we have to really rally towards. And AI is just an accelerant. It's not the actual problem. It just makes it much worse.
And to tie up or to summarize, like all this AI is essentially driven by your core component of data. If you can track the data, if you can track its utilization, where it is going and where it is moving, it will also help you manage your AI security posture in a better way. Like I know I'm not speaking on behalf of any other company, but there are vendors in the market, for example, Sierra. They have these, or Netscope, they're all coming up with these sort of solutions, especially in the case of DSPM, like Sierra. I've seen I'm not speaking on behalf of them, but just I've gone through their research, so I've seen what they have been up to. So yes, you are absolutely right, and there are like interesting times ahead for all of us, challenging times. The rate at speed at which these new things are coming up, keeping up with this new technology is a sort of like a humbling experience. The moment I think I'm talking about personally, like I feel like I've learned something. I meet you, and I feel like, dude, I don't know, I know this much, and I need to know.
You started this interview with making me blush on camera. I see what you're doing now. I see your plan.
I mean, Matt is trying to be very humble, but every time he attends our AIWG session, when the session ends, we have learned something new. So thank you so much, Matt, for your time. And I feel whatever you presented today and whatever we discussed, I think it will help a lot of healthcare and beyond healthcare security. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for giving me this. And this is also one thing I want to emphasize. I want to really be thankful for the opportunities I get to speak here and actually spread that. Nobody cares about me. This is not about me. This is about getting the word out, because we get all these patients really rely on us doing our work right. That's what actually matters at the end of the day.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Especially in our ChenMed case also, we are providing services to people who just don't have accessibility to healthcare. So I feel my job helps the larger community I'm defending them. Via my whatever little bit of the skills that I have.
And look, you can have fun along the way. Nobody says that's wrong, but ultimately, it's about who we protect.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole genesis. That's the whole bedrock principle.
Let's keep doing that. Thank you.
Let's keep doing that. Thank you so much.